Erin. I'm just going to do a little bit of an introduction about VoIP supply before we let Josh take the show. I'd like to thank everybody for attending the webinar and taking time out to be a part of this. We all really appreciate it. Just a little history for those of you who are not familiar with VoIP supply. We focus on VoIP equipment and VoIP services. We were founded in 2002 by Ben Sayers and have grown to over 30 employees. And we have over 125,000 customers worldwide. Lastly, we are headquartered here in Buffalo, New York, where we're calling in from, and we also recently opened up a West Coast location in Las Vegas, Nevada. So if any of you are worried about our bad weather that we're known for up here, we'll make sure that everything gets to you right on time. I would like to touch upon our partnership with SimpleWan. We have been working with SimpleWan for over 2 years, and we have a really great relationship with the brand. We've been doing quarterly trainings to keep our sales and marketing teams updated on the latest and greatest from SimpleWan, and we're in constant contact with them. So that means that we are going to have the newest products and the most information for you. And we make sure to do this so our sales team can answer any questions that you have about any SimpleWan product. We do have a series of different programs available for you at VoIP. And I just want to highlight on a few of those that we have to offer. We do offer VoIP fulfillment. We've been providing provisioning and fulfillment to VoIP service providers since the industry's beginning, and we can take care of anything you need from order processes, shipping, not only that, but we can also blind ship if that interests you, configuration of your hardware, and marketing for branding of your business. And with VoIP fulfillment, you can harness all of our resources. We have a really great partner program, and as a partner with VoIP Supply, you'll gain industry-aggressive commissions, provide multiple solutions and proposals through our partners, and always have the ability to present the correct solution the first time. Be part of our integrators community. If you're able to support our partners' installation process, we will reach out to you and help support our customers in your area. And dedicated support from VoIP Supply and our partners. No matter the question, VoIP Supply and our partners are here to help you and your customers. We also have an affiliate program. Joining the VoIP Supply affiliate program gives your customers access to one of the largest VoIP hardware catalogs out there, and you earn industry-aggressive commissions just by referring traffic, 24 and 48-hour registration process, and access to our full catalog of VoIP hardware and all the marketing materials you need. We also offer a reclaim. We purchase your old and gently used VoIP equipment, and you receive fair market value. The hardware then will go through an intensive refurbishing process, and then we'll resell our refresh line to another great resource. So not only is that great for you, but it's great for the environment as well. And then we also offer VoIP education. We're not only here to sell you VoIP, but we're here to help you learn. Sales teams have over 10 years of VoIP experience, and they're a great resource. We also offer a series of buyer's guides on our websites that are free to download. And if you have any questions about any of these programs, feel free to reach out to us at any point. I can send you more information via email after the webinar if you want. Now, for the reason we're all here, Josh, I'm going to share my screen with you, and you can take it away.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Erin, and thank you, everybody, for joining us. Appreciate you guys coming back. For those of you that have attended some of my webinars and trainings, and for the guys that this is the first time, thank you very much for joining. This will definitely probably not be your last. And what we're going to do today is we're just going to kind of do an overview of what is SimpleWan, who cares, and pretty much, you know, how do I sell it. We're also going to go over the administrative portal at a high level on the dashboard for, you know, the guys that are MSPs or reselling to MSPs, for your telecom or network admins. You know, it really gives you an idea of what your clients are looking at and what's important to them, and it really ultimately helps you sell the product. Now, I'm sure most of you guys are already selling SimpleWan to your clients, and that's absolutely great. So we'll also talk about some new product enhancements and feature sets, give you more ideas of what you can talk to your client about. However, after this training, do not be afraid to reach out to us directly. If you want to do one-on-one training for your reps, your staff, your clients, one-on-one demos, stuff like that, please reach out. We are here to help you drive that business and drive that revenue. I am Josh Haselhorst. I am the OEM and Wholesale Manager for SimpleWan. I am based out of Phoenix, Arizona, although I do travel a ton. However, here's my information. Write that down. That's my email address. That's my cell phone number. I am available all the time. So please take a note of that. Again, if you need to reach out for training, customer demos, stuff like that, proof of concepts, whatever, reach out to me anytime. So who is SimpleWan? For the guys that don't know, SimpleWan started in business about 9 years ago. We were a hosted voice provider. We were a company called ComVoice. What made us very, very unique in the hosted voice world at that time was ComVoice was one of the only hosted providers on the planet, again, at the time, that were geo-redundant, meaning in multiple data centers, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast, in a active-active failover model. That way, if one DC went down, the other DC was automatic. So we didn't have any outages. The second piece, and the most important piece of it, was we were the only hosted provider at the time to guarantee voice quality over shared commodity services internet, be it DSL, cable, whatnot. The technology that actually was able to do that was the SimpleWan technology. Now, 4 years ago, we sold the hosted voice platform, ComVoice, to a company called Jive Communications. We rolled out the SimpleWan product as a standalone. Most of our software development team came with us, and we continued to develop the product. The product originally was designed to do voice QoS for the hosted voice product, which is why you hear a lot of hosted voice service providers use SimpleWan, either an orange SimpleWan box or an OEM colored and painted and logoed their colors, and their own product. On the back end, it is a SimpleWan product that we build for them. And what it gives them is voice QoS on shared internet services. For the MSPs and the VARs of the world, as we've been developing the product, it has been getting adopted on a global scale. I'm sure you guys have been hearing about, some of the features and functions that we do, be it security pieces, content filtering pieces, 4G failover, and so on, and we'll go over that. SD-WAN is probably one of the biggest talking points out there in the market today. SD-WAN for us is simply a feature where for some of our manufacturers, and we'll talk about that, that is their entire product. But basically, what we did is we took very complicated legacy network environments, stacking and piecemealing firewalls and routers and content filtering and security devices all in a wiring closet. We basically took that complication out of the wiring closet, installed one little small gateway with a ton of software as a service features. So that way, if your client needed to, and they needed to become PCI or HIPAA compliant, that is not another piece of software or another piece of hardware they need to install. It is not another project. If they wanted to get WAN failover or managed Wi-Fi, again, not another controller or a piece of hardware, not another piece of software. It is simply an enabled feature that already lives inside the SimpleWan product. So it's a very, very easy deployment model. If your customers want or have multi-locations and they're looking at VPN connectivity or MPLS connectivity, SD-WAN is what they're talking about today. SD-WAN to us is not a product. It is simply an enabled feature that we just simply turn on. These retail environments or these urgent care facilities, stuff like that, these guys need to be HIPAA, PCI compliant. They need cybersecurity in their environment. Traditionally, that is yet another gateway, another appliance, another piece of software. Your customers need all this stuff, but they also want the ease of the management. I need to be able to see at a glance every single one of my locations. I need to be able to see what my network is doing. I need to see my MOS scores, my latency, my history, my jitter. I need to be able to see this stuff. The only way to do this is yet another appliance, yet another piece of software, right? So again, SimpleWan decided several years ago we're going to build these feature sets as a software development company in a software as a service, one platform, all-in-one model. No more hardware, No more IT staff that have to manage multiple or remote locations. No more, tearing apart or forklift upgrades existing legacy infrastructures. This is simply decommission what you have, install SimpleWan, turn on the feature sets, and let's go. Very, very easy. So what does SimpleWan do? Right? SimpleWan, we have 3 different models as far as gear, I would say. One, we have something called an Advanced 2. An Advanced 2 is a small little box. It's basically a gateway that connects into our multiple data centers. Inside those multiple data centers is the connection point for all the software as a service. So it is cybersecurity. It is the cloud firewall. Again, the enabled features, SD-WAN, compliance. The voice QoS simply comes with it. That was part of the core of the original product, was voice QoS, cloud firewall, and network analytics. The single pane of glass dashboard for your network admins or your do-it-yourselfers, right? And as we've developed it, managed Wi-Fi came into play. We use the Ubiquity controller. So any of your customers that have Ubiquity access points can simply adopt those access points into the solution. Now I can do, and I'll show you here later when we get into the dashboard, but now I can do site surveys at a glance from my cell phone at a beach in the Bahamas. Right? We have the full diagnostic and monitoring tool. We do the content filtering. New enhanced feature is not only blacklist, but whitelist as well. We monitor all devices. And for certain hosted voice companies, we do SD voice. What SD voice does is it encrypts voice traffic end-to-end from carrier to end user, and it also allows for no dropped calls during a failover. And we'll talk about that a little bit as we go on. So how do I sell this? What do I talk to my customer about? Especially when we're talking SD-WAN, we've found SD-WAN is a great catchphrase. It is a great marketing tool. Thanks to Cisco, they spent billions of dollars getting the SD-WAN world out. SD-WAN for us is nothing new. We've had SD-WAN for almost 7 years. We patented the technology and we called it VMPLS. Now it is labeled SD-WAN just so people understand what it is. People are talking SD-WAN all over the globe right now. People are deploying it all over the globe, and some people are afraid of it because they don't totally understand what it is or what it does. We'll talk about that here in a bit. But qualifying questions that you see on the screen right there is when they're talking, and all your customers are talking about it. They're talking about cloud firewalls, right? They're talking about cybersecurity and PCI and HIPAA compliance. They're talking about connectivity, right? SD-WAN, MPLS. They're also looking for alternatives to what they're doing existing, right? Is I've got, 5-year-old Fortinet firewalls in my environment, and I've got, some security flaws in there. Do I just go buy more gear, right? How do I give myself better voice quality over a hosted voice platform? How do I secure my environment? How do I connect my environment? How do I maintain, manage, and monitor my environment easily without having to roll out trucks or do complex configurations, right? Where SimpleWan fits, and you'll see as we go through here, is multi-location. Not just end users that have multi-locations like a Napa or a Checker or an O'Reilly, but companies that are managing multi-locations from a managed services provider's perspective. If I have to, my job as an MSP is to manage several hundred, several thousand locations, how do I do that? How do I do that when all of these customers have different types of equipment in every one of their environments? I need to be able to do this easily and scale, and I need to be able to do it simply. Are your clients talking about other technologies? VeloCloud, BigLeaf, NetFlow, and SolarWinds for monitoring. Again, these are all point products. Well, they've been doing point products for decades. They're sick of doing point products. They want this all-in-one easy solution. Are they having issues with complex, multiple environments? I was working with a customer just not too long ago. He's got 1,600 locations. They are massage places. And before I came on to SimpleWan, I came over from Mitel. I built the cloud channel environment for Mitel hosted. And I came over to SimpleWan to build the same thing. And had a conversation with one of my old customers who looked at our product and fell in love with it. And then at the end of the conversation, the end of the demo, he said, unfortunately, I contracted with Cisco Meraki. So the conversation was, how is that going? And he told me it would take him probably 2 to 3 years to fully deploy all of his 1,600 stores. The problem with it is every single one of these locations takes an IT staffer, somebody that's pretty savvy with networking and SD-WAN technologies and hosted voice. I've got to get somebody in every one of these locations to install this plug-in configure and home run it back to corporate for our monitoring and management. As you can imagine, deploying vans and ladder trucks to 1,600 locations, I can see where his issue is. So where in a SimpleWan environment, that would have been simply just drop ship to 1,600 locations. The store manager takes it out of the box and plugs it in. End of story, we're done. We could have had that 1,600 deployment done in a day. Where does it live? We spoke about that a little bit. SimpleWan is not the enterprise platform. This is not the SD-WAN or firewall or security platform for your Honeywells, Motorola's, Intels of the world, right? They have savvy IT staff that know how to do configurations. They have dual CCIEs and CISSPs. These guys know what they're doing, and they've got the staff to do it. These guys are buying SonicWall Supermassives and NSAs. They're buying Cisco Big Iron, Juniper, and Fortinet, WatchGuard and Checkpoint, right? That is not where we live. SimpleWan is built and designed, again, to be that all-in-one solution, getting rid of that older equipment, getting rid of that legacy blinky lights in the wiring closet. We are designed for that multi-location franchise business. If you see a store that you drive into to buy something, that's a SimpleWan fit, right? So why would you go with SimpleWan than any other product? Well, here's the thing that I tell all my partners. You're not. You're going to go with SimpleWan where SimpleWan is the perfect fit. We are not Cisco. We are not here to design a square peg that'll fit in a little round hole. If you're looking at mid-market enterprise-type customers that have that IT staff at every site, that have that Juniper Checkpoint firewall, that is not a SimpleWan fit. That is Cisco Meraki. That is Big Leaf. That is Acessa. If you get into these opportunities, reach out. Call me. We'll talk about the solution. We'll talk about the situation. And if it's not the right SimpleWan fit, I will point you in the right direction of where it fits better. My product is the one box, magic box that takes care of everything from voice QoS to cybersecurity to failover, the whole 9 yards. Where my product fits is where it says you see on the screen right there. It's just an absolute no-brainer. This makes sense. I don't have IT staff. I plug it in. It just works. We can talk about features and functions forever. We can dig into it with your clients or with your sales reps or whatever, and absolutely more than happy to do it. But just so you know, this is what your customers are looking for. They're looking for something that's easy to manage. I can diagnose and analyze any location at any time. Everything is real-time access. I can remotely monitor anything from my cell phone, my laptop, wherever I'm at. I want easy connectivity, and frankly, I want cheap connectivity. Let's face it, a Foot Locker of the world or a Domino's Pizza of the world is not going to install DIA. They're not going to install fiber at every location. They're going to find the cheapest internet they can possibly find. But they still want the enterprise quality. The only way to do that is with a SimpleWan. That being said, I'm going to show you guys the dashboard, and then we'll open up to Q&A. And I'm not going to take a heck of a lot of your time, though, but let's open it up to Q&A here in a minute so you can ask some questions. But this is what your network admin is going to look at once SimpleWan is deployed in his locations. He's going to see his bandwidth at each location here, what's going on in his environment. He's going to see all of his locations on the map there that he's got SimpleWan installed with. And then on the side here, on the left-hand side, you're going to see all the locations that are installed. These are all the locations that we have installed as SimpleWan as either text boxes or live boxes for our offices. But I'm going to be able to see at a glance as a network admin or a telco admin what's going on in all my sites before I even go into a deep dive on a troubled site. I can see what my sites are reachable, what my average latency is, packet loss, jitter, MOS scores. I get to see all of my account warnings. What's going on in my environment? What are my warnings and what's happening? What do I need to be looking out for? Where do I need to pay attention to my alerts, or is it just noise? When we get one of these installed as a NFR in your own environment, these are used as demo purposes, much like I'm doing for you guys right now, but your sales reps are doing this in the field. In our world, in a franchise multi-location environment, imagine I'm speaking to a franchise owner. I own 27 Wendy's stores and 13 Subway sandwich stores, right? We hear this conversation weekly. I'm too small. I don't really concern myself with security or encryption or anything like that. Nobody's hitting me with DDoS attacks. Nobody wants my information, anything like that. So security is not that big of an issue. I got a little, Windows-based firewall and maybe some antivirus on my laptop. I'm good. Well, no, you're not, Mr. Customer. I can open up my attack ports right here, turn on my attack map that I just turned on literally seconds ago, and you can see right there at a glance I've already been hit with DDoS attacks 120 times in just a couple of seconds. You can see exactly where they're coming from, what offices they're hitting, what IP addresses they're coming from, what ports they're hitting. And once I get into analytics, I can actually see destinations, sources, all my honeypots throughout the globe and what we're collecting. So when these guys are talking, security is not that big of an issue for me, this is a huge sales tool just to show them. But then I can get into the bandwidth breakdown. And we're not going to get too deep in the weeds, guys. I know this is more sales than anything else, but I just want you to have the tool in your hands so you can see what your customers are looking at. My bandwidth breakdowns, who's using what and where. My service breakdowns, what are they using, where are they going. And then I can go directly into an actual location. Maybe this is a trouble location. Maybe I'm just checking on the location. Here is another big sales tool. I can go in here and I can do what is the bandwidth utilization at this specific site, what's happening at what time of day and when. I can make sure I've got the right firmware, what units I have. But here's what's really important in a sales world, is I can go in here, I can go into this site, and I can see what features they've had enabled or what they don't have enabled. For example, if I'm a retail facility, I'm a Foot Locker, I'm taking credit cards, right? And I can come in here and I can see that these guys have cybersecurity enabled, which is going to give them that PCI accountability, right? And if it's red, they don't have it. Meaning if I've got a client that's out there taking credit cards or it's an urgent care facility or whatnot and they don't have cybersecurity green light and it's red, then they are not compliant, which tells my sales rep, okay, I can now call that customer and they need to enable the cybersecurity feature, which will get them that compliancy. Or if they have multiple locations, how are you connecting to those multiple locations for distributed file shares, inventory control, stuff like that? Do you have SD-WAN enabled? And I can talk to that client about enabling these feature sets to make their lives easier. But I can really dig in all the way into 4G signal strength and case temperature on each individual device and find out exactly what's going on in that environment. Real-time throughput. This is absolutely huge for customers, and we get it literally daily through support calls. I bought, a internet circuit from blank hosted provider, and I bought a, 50 meg by 6. And now that it's installed, what am I really getting? Right? What you buy for, what you pay for, is not necessarily what you get in the broadband world. So SimpleWan is going to show you exactly what you're getting in that environment. And then obviously for your do-it-yourselfers, your network engineers, once we train either your end user or your staff, we get into our tables and deep dive diagnostics. Go into Diagnostic Tools real quick. What if I have a location that is now calling into support and my voice is giving me, drop calls or echoes or whatnot? Or my internet is up, down, or I've got a firewall that is now blocking specific ports. I can go in here into my change logs, firewall logs, and monitoring and find out exactly what's going on in that environment, who touched it last, what they did, and why they did it. So I can get into deep dive analytics to avoid any of the finger pointing from my hosted voice guy to my ISP to my network engineer. I go into my firewall logs and see who changed what and when, what they changed and why they changed it. This happens all the time with do-it-yourselfers, is they get the devices in, they get a guy that, just graduated to DeVry or ITT Tech to be their network administrator, and they come in and start playing with tools. And then all of a sudden support calls happen to you guys saying, hey, look, my voice quality is not great. Well, now we can go in here and see exactly what happened and when it happened and what they changed. We can stop that finger pointing instantly. No more 3 calls to the ISP before they deploy a tech. No more 10 calls to the hosted voice provider, right? This is going to stop all of the finger pointing everywhere. I can go into my network health and look at my actual interfaces, my ports, and see exactly what's happening. So let's go into the security and compliance thing. This is absolutely huge. This is another software as a service enabled. I think it retails out at $100 a month for your end user. But what it's going to give them is going to give them their monthly penetration test, your monthly ports and scanning and all of your reports. It is not going to make them PCI compliant, but what it's going to do is it's going to show them where the holes are in their network. So before they contact that third-party network consulting firm, they're going to see exactly in colors, green is good, red is bad, what is passing and what is failing in this environment to be PCI or HIPAA compliant. At this location, I have insecure ports in my firewall rules, right? I've got some warnings in here, the MPLS, IPsec issues, right? I have unique names as far as security. Once all of these are green, and I have fixed any of my issues at these locations, I am still not PCI compliant. I still have to go hire a third-party auditing firm to audit my network. However, they can come in here and they can see if all of these are green, then I'm gold, right? And then I have to get another company to actually come in and give me my certificate of compliance. So when I mentioned before we are a group of software developers, the next revision that is coming out on the compliance piece, on the cybersecurity piece, is once everything is green, and this is absolutely huge for your end users. Once everything is green, my network is locked down, I am 100% ready for PCI compliance. I'm going to be able to go down to the bottom of this screen. There's going to be a hyperlink to another piece of the dashboard that I can download my certificate of compliance. And now I can go do business. It's going to embed that third-party audit. It's going to embed that third-party certificate of compliance without the cost. This is going to be huge for your retail and your healthcare clients. Moving on from that, I'm not going to get deep in the weeds of how to set up firewall rules and how to set up user stuff like that. We can do that one-on-one training with our tech. But let's go into the unified controller piece. This was last year one of our largest add-ons. This year, cybersecurity so far has been our largest add-on. But what the unified controller does is this is the Ubiquity wireless controller. This is the on-prem controller. What this allows me to do is do site surveys from anywhere. It allows me to hang access points anywhere. It allows me to see my coverage maps. Maybe I'm a hotel and I've got conferences in specific parts of the hotel, and I need to have a higher congestion, more access points. I can see that at a glance. Maybe I want a coffee shop and I want to be able to do guest Wi-Fi, stuff like that. All that other stuff is embedded into this solution here. So here's the unified dashboard. I can go into the actual map. I can see where all of my access points are. Here's one of my offices here. There's my access point. I can see the details of that access point. I can see the coverage of that access point. So now if I've got a customer that's calling me and I'm his MSP or I'm his consultant or whatever, is, hey, look, you know, every time I go to the north side of the building, my Wi-Fi calls stop. Or, you know, I'm not getting data, or it's super slow, or I'm not getting connection or whatnot. I don't have to deploy a truck to go out there with a spectrum analyzer and figure out what's going on. I just have to simply open this map and say, hey, look, Bill, you need to go out another access point to the north side of the building and click the adopt button. And now my entire building is hot. I can go into the actual devices, see what devices are connected to what access points. I can get into the client side and see exactly who's accessing those access points and where they are. I can see where my guest users are. I can block my users. I can add users. And then I can get into the network statistics. This is huge in a hospitality environment, especially when I'm opening up conferences or annual trade shows or whatnot. I can see my stats and find out where my points are, where they get the heaviest hit, where do I need to add more. And then I can get into actual product insights. Who's the users? What are the guests? Who's blocked? What IPs? Who's wired? The whole 9 yards. This is an absolute huge selling point for your client. And then we can talk about VLANs or how to set up firewalls, which we won't. Traffic prioritization, this is huge for your hosted voice guys, which I know a lot of you guys are. Out of the box, it's a 50-50 split between data and voice traffic. However, if I'm a contact center and all I'm doing is mass calls inbound and outbound, and I start getting a little bit staticky or a little echoey or something like this, I can change it on the fly. I can enable the traffic prioritization. I can turn it from a normal to a moderate aggressive, depending on use case. The point is use case. Everybody uses this product a little bit differently, and let's talk about that a little bit before we open up to Q&A. Use case studies. Some customers, our contact center customers, they want this for voice only. I need higher voice quality. Some customers are MSPs. I need to see the network analytics at all of my locations so I have no finger pointing between hosted and ISPs and whatnot. Some customers use it simply for 4G failover and PCI compliance. We have a hosted voice provider we do a lot of work with. Again, I am the OEM manager for SimpleWan as well, so I have some hosted voice providers that use my product under their logo, their colored box, the whole 9 yards. But one of them came to us a couple of years ago with trouble tickets. They were using a competitive product. I think it was a Edgewater or Edgemark or something like that for some of their locations. And they wanted to vet out SimpleWan. So basically what they did is they took their top 100 trouble tickets, support tickets that they could not fix. The finger pointing has been going on for months between a hosted environment and an ISP environment, back and forth and back and forth. They engaged us, we brought them in, we installed 100 SimpleWans at the top 100 locations, and the support tickets instantly stopped. And the reason why is because now they could have gone into the analytics and showed them exactly what's going on with the ISP, the internet service provider, download that report, contact that ISP, and the answer was 100%, we'll send a tech out right now, there is a problem with the ISP. That was a use case with a hosted voice provider. There's other use cases. A retail pizza shop nationwide. I believe we're in close to 600 of them now. This product was sold by a big data analyst to this corporation, and he only wanted to use it for PCI compliance, the network management piece, but more important, the 4G failover. And when we spoke to the CIO and interviewed him and asked him, why did you choose SimpleWan? Why did you even do this product? His biggest thing was 4G failover. His biggest thing was when my internet goes down in southern Oklahoma City, I want the guys across the street at the other pizza franchise to watch me ringing in the till and ordering pizzas and sending out delivery drivers. So there's always hundreds and hundreds of different types of use cases for this product. Not every customer is going to enable every single service set, but the product is super, super sticky. And what I mean by that is once you get this product installed, or maybe it's just voice QoS, or maybe it's 4G failover or whatnot, your customers are coming back to you weekly adding on services. Tell me about cybersecurity. Tell me about dual WAN failover. Because they don't want to buy other products, other services, other softwares, and stack them back in that wiring closet. They just want you to be able to push the enable button for them, and move on with the service. And that is my SimpleWan spiel. So I am going to stop sharing my screen, and we will open it up to Q&A.
Thank you so much, Josh. That was a really great presentation. For Q&A, if you can please type your questions in our chat box. I'm sure Josh will be able to help you, or we can send them on to him in email.
Let's see. Look at the chat box here. Okay, first one. Can we get a copy of the slides? Absolutely. Erin, I believe you have those, or do you not still have them?
Yep, I have them, and I'll be sure to send them over in an email with a little bit more information about how you can continue to work and take the next step with SimpleWan and VoIP supply.
Beautiful. So Tim has a question, if this is not meant for enterprise clients, why are they offering rack-mounted devices for big-style data centers? Very good question, Tim. Not only do we offer the rack mount that gives them more ports as well as more throughput, and Advanced 2 has up to 480 meg. A rack mount has up to a gig, and even bigger than that in data center environments. Most service providers is the VMware version of the software. The reason people do it in those environments are kind of the same reason that they do it in small environments, is they want an all-in-one solution, or they're a hosted provider, or I just simply have big bandwidth and big throughput environment needs. Now, in big environments, here's the other rub, though, is if I have big firewalls that I'm already using and I'm locked into these, monster 3-year contracts, stuff like that, we're not a fit. And the reason is because those existing firewalls are going to block all of my network analytics. Now, will voice QoS still work and SD-WAN and stuff like that? Absolutely, but I can't prove it. So we do have clients out there that deploy the SimpleWan and still have those analytics blocked. They put us in bridge mode just to do that voice QoS. The problem is the finger pointing rule. How do I know what I bought is working the way it was supposed to be? You don't, unless I am the head of the network. Next question. Is it very common to see some racks inside of SMB closets? It's very rare. Usually, and the reason I say that is because of throughput. Usually in a retail or an SMB environment, the largest bandwidth you're going to see these guys running is probably 300 meg circuits on shared internet. Most of them are not running 1 gig fiber type circuits. The ones that do, we put the rack mount in, or the virtual version. But again, traditionally, there's not going to be a Foot Locker or a Domino's Pizza on the planet that's running a 1 gig fiber connection. Let's see. Bob Morris, is there application prioritization? Absolutely. Get with our software dev guys when we're doing that setup, and they'll show you how to do that. In the demo, which device's firmware is not up to date? I believe all of the firmware that we're running in our dev environments are all up to date on the latest firmware. However, there is a new firmware coming out, hopefully at the end of the summer. So we're looking at probably maybe late September. What that firmware is going to do is going to do a couple things. It's going to have the newest version of the Ubiquiti wireless controller. It's also going to have load balancing for that dual WAN environment. And if you want more questions on that, please send me an email and we'll schedule a call to do some one-on-one. Let's see, what's next? Can we get a recording of this? I believe they are recording it. Is there a report that can be built that can provide real-time bandwidth consumption by traffic and application? Absolutely. Again, get with me on the side and I'll get my software dev guys to roll through the dashboard and show you exactly where those reports live. Peter says, so is referencing the SD-WAN's firmware. Yeah, well, Peter, the devices is the firmware. SD-WAN is simply an application. It's just simply a function of the bot. You don't need the latest version of firmware to do SD-WAN, but it is recommended. It's free and it's a click of a button. Tim says, does the Unify adoption require SSH access to each access point? That is over my head, Tim. Let's have a one-on-one call with one of my software dev guys to go through that. Peter says, not other devices on the network. Peter, I'm assuming what you mean is, will SimpleWan work if there are other firewalls in the environment? The answer is technically yes. We do have multiple environments where guys are running SimpleWan on a voice VLAN and SonicWall or WatchGuard on a data VLAN. So yes, it can absolutely be done. Those are one-off type configurations. Get with my guys, get with myself, and we'll help you get those kind of configs set up. The problem is, if it is in the same VLAN, and I've got a firewall behind of or in front of my SimpleWan, it's going to block my network analytics, which is really the power of the product. Anybody else?
It looks like you answered all of their questions.
Okay. I will turn it back over to Erin to complete them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Josh. That was a really great presentation, very informative. And thank you for everybody for participating. We really appreciate the engagement in the chat and being here with us with SimpleWan and VoIP Supply. I will be sure to send an email that includes the deck, and then we will release this recording onto our YouTube page, so please be sure to subscribe to keep up to date. And I'd just like to thank everybody again, and have a wonderful day.